Welcome to the Buddha Belly Life podcast. I'm Coach Britt, and today I'm joined by me. And this fun episode is called Beauty is Gut Deep. And we're going to be talking about the skin-gut connection. So whether or not you're in the aesthetics and beauty industries, whether or not you're an individual wondering how you can improve your skin, your teenager skin, whether or not you are a coach that's wondering, or someone in the wellness arena wondering how the skin communicates things that are going on inside of the internal body, this episode is hopefully going to be for you. So we've covered a lot of different things on the show, and I really like to keep it multifaceted because it all does come back to the gut. It comes back to the gut and the nervous system. And making these correlations is really, really important. So we're talking about the skin today, and this isn't the first time we've done the skin. If you reference an episode we did probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, with the founder of Biome skincare products, which is I think Kate Hudson is one of the main advocates for that product. It's a external skin microbiome friendly product. And so we talked about skin a bit on that one with the founder and that doctor that had put that business together. So this isn't the first time we've talked skin. It's not the first time skin has come up. And with what we're doing in the arena with the Gut Health School, with even Buddha Belly Life, we have trained estheticians and people in the skincare realm for the, we're going to year 10 now with the school. And we've been training these guys for the whole time. Those who find us, those are the estheticians and wellness professionals who do the research and figure out what else is affecting skin, right? And they do enough research and they go, oh shoot, the gut, it has a huge, is really implicated in so many of these conditions that aren't resolving on their own. Maybe this isn't just a topical treatment kind of thing. And so because of that, they found their way to us, and we've been doing it for a long time. And now we're expanding into not only training coaches and estheticians by happenstance, but we're expanding into training estheticians and wellness facilities and skincare facilities overall, because we're teaching them some specialized training in the holistic skin gut connection and skin biome. So this is going to be a little education. Maybe it'll blow your mind a little. I don't know. And if you didn't know, so like I said, I'm going into year 10 with doing the Gut Health School. But did you know I was a cosmetologist in another life? I was a hairdresser in, I call it my first life, because I've been self-employed from about almost 20 years now. And in the first one, I was a hairdresser. And so being in the beauty world, I actually taught makeup classes. I taught for a natural makeup line in salon cosmetics and all that. And so this isn't my first rodeo. I actually used to work behind the Lancome counter when I was putting myself through beauty school when I was much younger, trying to get through college. So it's kind of fun to see some of this come full circle and to still be able to talk about gut, because that's still what we do. We just use it to help so many different people. So most people treat the skin like a surface problem. And for those of us who know, it makes us a little crazy. And that's exactly why so many skin conditions become chronic. All right. And for anyone listening in the aesthetics arena who's afraid that if you do deeper work, you'll lose clientele, you won't have that repeat services, I want to just assure you that what we always teach to our coaches and anyone in any industry, kind of like I say, a good therapist or psychiatrist, is if you do your job well, you graduate people out or you put them in a state of maintenance with you, which means, you don't see them as much, or maybe not at all, or maybe not until something else comes up. But because you've done such a good job, your schedule's always full with new people that need to start the process. Okay, so you're not going to lose people by graduating them out. Ideally, you're going to build your reputation, your validation, and you're going to prove that you're going to prove your place in actually helping people through some of these conditions. Okay, so the skin, we call it the external gut, because it is an immune and microbial organ. So your skin is the largest organ. The skin, the immune system, hormones, nervous system are one integrated network, believe it or not. That's why you'll see hormonal breakouts and etc. In holistic medicine and microbiome research, the skin is increasingly being recognized as a dynamic immune organ. So it's not just a cosmetic surface. And this is why treating it so much on the outside is really difficult. This goes for everything from skin conditions like rosacea, to acne, to aging. Okay, so for anybody who's, worried about the wrinkles and things like that, you're going to get a lot of, and even, you're gonna get great information out of this, and even sun protection. Honestly, too, what we do in the inside of the body does make a difference on our skin. I actually saw that on a Dr. Oz episode once. He did a demo on something to represent skin, and he was talking about how those who eat a lot of, I think, tomatoes or something, they did a test, and I think it was the lycopene or something in the tomatoes, they didn't burn as easy. So they were talking about things like, skin cancer prevention based on the internal body, which just from my rational understanding of holistic health and prevention makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and go into the whole sunscreen thing. However, we existed for millennia. It's like so many other things. Our susceptibility as our microbiome has degraded over time, as our diets have gotten poor, as our stress has gotten higher, as the chemicals have gotten more, we don't have the resilience to the things we once did. And I believe that sun exposure is also one of them. So this makes a lot of sense. Clear skin isn't created in the bathroom mirror. Okay, it's created inside the body. And that makes topical skincare all the more fun. It's like when you go to the gym and you get all fit, right? And then you put on a really cute dress on a fit body. This is awesome. Yes, we can keep finding the wardrobe to put over whatever body type we are in today, and that we should have all the confidence in that. Okay, but if we're trying to use things to cover up, it's kind of like makeup, right? To cover up, poor skin. It's what's underneath there isn't working great. So instead of these products or whatever being an additional gratification to something that's already healthy and well, they're being used to cover up or to try and work against this internal piece that's doing more of the work. We really say, how they say abs are made in the kitchen? I love this analogy because it's true, mainly for women, but what we're eating, nutrition wise, we can go to the gym 5 days a week and not really see much change, depending on where we start, where our hormones are, etc., until we change our diet. So much of the change in our physical bodies that we're going to see, at least when it comes to weight loss, is going to be our eating, right? That's 80% of what shows in our body. The same is true for the gut. So the skin, if we're just topically treating it, we're missing that a huge majority of what's happening inside the body is affecting the skin. They both, so the skin and the gut, this is so interesting, both contain microbiomes. So I'm sure a lot of people, when they hear microbiomes, they just think gut, like the gut microbiome. It's gained a lot of attention, and it's starting to get some play. But a microbiome is really microbes, a small biome. All right. So it's like a rainforest, so to speak, inside your body, on your body. There's different microbiomes in and on and around your body. They all kind of have their own makeup for different reasons. So the skin has its own biome that's put together with different bacteria and fungi, etc., that caters to the skin. And just like the gut, it can get dysregulated. It can get poor. It can not protect you as much. It can turn against your skin health. So that's where we see that. And yet it is working in and on your body. The microbiome in your mouth is working within the gut and communicating back and forth. This is transferring, and it's all affecting each other, which is kind of like what we talked about on the last podcast episode when we were talking about detox with Dr. Geraldo. He was talking about because he's a Chilean dentist. So he was talking about the oral microbiome and how it affects the gut microbiome. Well, the skin is like that too. It's interconnected. They both act as immune organs and they regulate inflammation. So much like inflammation is connected to all forms of disease, guess what? Inflammation it affects all kinds of skin conditions. They're very much related to inflammation. So the skin-gut connection is very similar. So the microbes in our gut then affect our skin and how that is working. And when we're taking better care of our internal body, your skin gets healthier. Because if you think about it, your skin is like this detoxification organ. So that's why you sweat out it, right? That's why when I see someone, I mean, a lot of us coaches are actually trained to look at skin health when we're assessing the state of a client's gut. Because if they're dealing with a lot of acne, red spots and rosacea, if they're showing signs of blotchiness, like histamine overload, things like that, there's immune crosstalk. And these are inflammatory pathways. Okay, just like how the gut affects the brain, right? We're seeing these bidirectional communication, which is why when we tend to the biome on an internal sense, we get a healthier biome on an external sense as well. Dysbiosis in one-way system, okay? The imbalance is in the other. Let me explain that a little bit. So this shows up. So dysbiosis in one system within, like, let's say the gut, will show up as acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, chronic inflammation, premature aging. Okay, when the internal ecosystem becomes inflamed or imbalanced, the skin often becomes the loudest messenger. So it communicates, like we say, the skin is the external gut. Sometimes a person's skin will be one of the loudest signals they have, which is why we ask about skin health on our intake forms. We ask about skin stuff. And this is why, because of the hormonal connection, the gut and the hormones are connected so much too. This is why you see hormonal breakouts. This is why you see, our teens struggle with so much more of that. Oil production is very much linked to the skin. Like I said, inflammation. So gut permeability, for those who don't know, is when the gut is leaky. This happens when endotoxins enter the bloodstream. So a permeable gut, the gut's supposed to be tight. Like it has these junctions and it's supposed to remain tight like a net. And when it gets inflamed, when we're, eating poorly and our gut is dysbiotic, which means the ratios of good bacteria, preferential bacteria that we want in larger quantities are too small. That means the bacteria we want to keep in small quantities are too large. So instead of an 80-20 split in the right way, we have an 80-20 split in the opposite way. The average person in industrialized countries does, and so we call that a dysbiotic gut. And what this does is these organisms feed then on the protective mucosal lining around the gut. And in that mucosal lining, there's a lot of immune regulating systems and all kinds of things. And so that mucosal lining, it's supposed to be fed on by some of the bacteria and organisms. That is how it actually keeps it's regenerative. So it's fed on a little and it just keeps regenerating, kind of like your skin falls off. If there's creatures on it eating your dead skin and the new stuff is coming, and it makes, there's a rhyme to this natural reason. But if it's happening too much, if it's overfed, because we have an overgrowth of these bacteria in too high of a ratio, then what's happening is that they're overfeeding. We are seeing a reduction in this protective mucosal lining, and now the actual gut, that colon, this netting is exposed and starts wearing away, and it starts staying open. So these junctions now are no longer protecting the bloodstream from endotoxins and food particles. Okay, endotoxins are like the byproduct of bacteria, specifically gram-negative bacteria. They make these endotoxins, and endotoxins are kind of like they're inflammatory. Okay, so when they stay contained in small amounts, we're fine. When there's a lot of it, and when those endotoxins start getting into the bloodstream, which is supposed to remain pretty sterile, what happens? It activates the immune system because that's what the body does. It's very intelligent. So when we have things running in the bloodstream, the body says, oh, here we go, inflammation. Inflammation comes in to attack whatever these foreign invaders are in the bloodstream. And that's a survival mechanism. That means your body's working. But when we have this gut permeability, this leaky gut, there's constant leakage. There's cytokine increases. These endotoxins, these things that are in food particles and foreign substances are in the blood. We're dealing with chronic low-grade inflammation. And chronic low-grade inflammation is connected to every disease out there, including its ties directly to the skin. Acne, rosacea, hives, dermatitis, chronic redness, eczema. If a kid has eczema, especially a child, but even an adult, the first question I've always asked as a coach is, do they eat gluten? Because so much of our wheat is produced with so many chemicals. And we have such an excess consumption of wheat that we see it a lot. We see a lot of it cause this leaky gut, and we see this bigger reaction to gluten. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone's eczema magically clear. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a random person sharing some personal experience here, just a random coach that's been teaching this for almost a decade. But I can't tell you how many times over my 10 years of doing this, we've recommended pull all gluten for a while really well, like make sure it's not in anything, and tell us what happens to your skin, and seen complete invisibility of eczema and chronic skin conditions, especially in children, which is, because when they're dealing with it, oh, poor things. Like it can just be so painful and uncomfortable. So most inflammatory skin conditions are immune responses. They're not surface dysfunction. And this is where the industry went wrong for so long, is they kept treating the surface. Okay. It's kind of like, pharmaceuticals with a lot of chronic illness, right? We keep treating with a pill. Well, ironically, we're just on more and more pills. We need more and more, and we're not getting to the root of what's causing a lot of this stuff. And so it takes those who want to see past this, who want to advance past this, who want to move beyond this. And thankfully, when I'm talking to estheticians anymore, I'm rarely coming across estheticians who aren't like, oh my goodness, tell me more, because they already have a level of knowledge in this. They're already picking up on that. They really are moving toward the holistic realm. And unlike, as much as I love my hairdresser buddies, those of us in hairdressing and in cosmetology, we were working with chemicals all the time. It was a little different. Those working in skincare are kind of like those working in massage therapy. It's a much more holistically oriented field, and they're going to more and more natural products, less and less chemicals, as minimal of chemicals as they possibly can, or calling themselves, holistic skincare specialists or holistic estheticians. And yet still so few are actually working with the internal body, which is why when we are talking to them about this, when they're coming across our stuff, when we're looking at training these people, these estheticians and these facilities and skin wellness facilities, they're like, oh, because it's this area that just was really not covered. And in these cases with this chronic inflammation, the skin is not the problem. The skin is the messenger. And how often do we see this in everything, right? Often the conditions we have aren't the problem. They're the messenger. The chronic headaches we have aren't the problem. They're the messenger. The out of control PMS, the hormone swings, the fatigue, the sleep issues, you name it, the problem is rarely the problem. It's the messenger. But if we're treating the problem, we ignore the we ignore the message, and we're not getting deeper. And so the same goes with skin. The gut regulates estrogen clearance, cortisol response, which is your stress hormone, your blood sugar, your detoxification pathways. Okay, if your gut is dysbiotic, this leads to hormonal chaos. Hormonal chaos leads to skin symptoms. Skin symptoms such as hormonal acne, oil imbalances, pigmentation problems, that puffiness, and accelerated aging. I think I love this the most. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, and even in myself, reduce stress and cortisol, a person looking way younger years later because of less stress. I feel like that happened to me. I'm not saying I look super young, okay? But I am saying a lot of people told me that. I was about a year out of years of chronic stress. And people would say, wow, you look so much younger. Like it's my friends and stuff. And I could see it too. Because the cortisol was going down and my skin was coming back to life, which is really empowering, because we see aging is so degenerative, and it's cool to say, yeah, there's a level of it that's going to happen. I really wish we could accept it a little better as a society, or just choose to what level we want to accept it personally, especially as females. But to also know that like we can age really nicely if we work on our internal body. It's really amazing. And we can turn around some of the stuff, some of the damage. If you're looking in the mirror and just thinking, oh my gosh, my skin is so lackluster. Like we feel old because our skin feels like dry, or like, extra lines are standing out and it feels just really dull. A lot of that stuff can improve when we're working on the gut. So hormonal acne and things like that are rarely just hormonal. They're really gut-driven hormone dysregulation. So poor estrogen, this is kind of how it's connected too. If you have poor estrogen clearance, this is where you're estrogen dominant, which is happening to a lot of people via stress. Yes, if we are more overweight, then our body's going to hang on to more of that estrogen. It's not going to clear it as well, make large amounts of it. But you're going to see more breakouts with poor estrogen clearance. Blood sugar dysregulation is going to be connected a lot more to acne and inflammation. Stress is going to increase cortisol production, and cortisol production is going to increase gut permeability, and gut permeability is going to make all kinds of skin flares. So chronic stress is equally, we're getting to this fight or flight state. And cortisol, when that cortisol is up, when we're in fight or flight and we're shooting all that cortisol, we're in a survival state. Like so many of us have been in or are in way too often. And when we're in this state, the body is efficient. It prioritizes the most important thing at the time. It says we're in danger. And our main job right now is to get away from danger. So our main job is not to have an immune system. It suppresses immunity. That's why you'll get sick more often. It inhibits gut lining repair. That's why it starts getting leaky, because we're not getting that blood flow to it. The gut will actually, in states of fight or flight, the gut actually will cause a paralysis, or the body will cause a paralysis of the gut. So we're not getting all that blood flow. It's like you're taking off oxygen from it. Imagine what happens to you if someone just like yanked the oxygen out of the room for a while. It's going to slow skin regeneration. So nervous system safety is a prerequisite for healing. And we do so much work with nervous system stuff now. It's really my favorite place. So most chronic skin cases are actually gut and nervous system and immune triad problems. And this is what's important to know. And this is why protocols can fail if nervous system regulation isn't also addressed. And this goes for the coaches. This goes for individuals with gut issues. This goes for chronic disease as much as skin, is why people feel like they're doing everything right, but they still can't get better. We need to look at the nervous system. I'm going to argue we need to come in at the nervous system from the get-go. You're going to find people who that nervous system work is the number one place they're most comfortable starting, or the most effective place to start anyway. And at least at some point in time, it should be integrated into a process for all of us, is calming and creating safety within the body so that the body can then do the repair work it needs to do. So we talk about why topical only skincare is failing long-term, and how more and more skin professionals are deciding and choosing to evolve now into the inevitability of where aesthetics is going. It doesn't mean they can't use their whatever they choose, the machines, etc., and grow in those ways that, the industry has been growing. However, this is really important for industry authority and just professional differentiation. the skin barrier dysfunction, things like overexfoliation, aggressive, these chronic peels or barrier stripping and stuff. So skin barrier breakdown is actually an immune activation. And immune activation is tied to gut inflammation. And gut inflammation makes worse skin. So again, when we're working with the gut, these estheticians can start now, or these people that are, these professionals that are working in the skin arena can actually start working more with the internal body too. So we're not just stripping the skin so much or attacking it quite so hard. We can kind of design a balance in that. You can't out-serum an inflamed microbiome. You just can't. And this is something that the professionals are understanding. They're equipping their clients, and they are expanding their potential to go beyond just typical skincare into really the wellness arena. Like, this is real holistic skincare. This is real holistic aesthetics. This is next level. And we've got people asking for it already. Like, I have people coming to me right now saying, how can I find an esthetician that is going to help me work with my gut, right? And I've got to pull from my little Rolodex here, around the United States. Even we have people all over the world. Actually, we just certified our first center, and she has a skincare facility in South Africa, I believe, or Nigeria. So she's in Nigeria, and working with Skin Biome and the whole facility. So this is like worldwide, but especially throughout the US, these estheticians who are about to train they're going to be on another level, and they're going to be teaching everyone around them. We've got students coming straight out of school or learning while they're in aesthetic schools or advanced trainings that are then going to launch straight into the business with this additional level of authority. So what these guys can do, these people, right, these professionals, is that they can keep their products, but they're also integrating protocols. So they're able to access and use some nutrition advice. They're able to use help with true transformation. They can access clinical grade gut-specific supplements so we can tailor to the internal biome as well as with the products. So imagine these skincare, these estheticians are able to package up just like you would your skincare, right? You're looking at your client and you're going to assess, like, they're somewhat oily, they're a mixed combo, they're this, what are they dealing the most with? Major inflammation or acne, or, right? And you're going to choose from your skincare line the right products that are going to serve them at home to maintain this process, right? Well, those that are trained now in the holistic skin biome specialty are also doing that with gut-specific supplementation and some nutrition lifestyle advice, right? They're sending their clients home with this internal and external care package that they're doing that is tailored to the client. It's really pretty magnificent, and people see that difference. That's why they're asking us, who's doing this now? Where can I go for this? Why facilities are going to choose now or later when to evolve. So they're going to choose if it's now or if it's later. So either they're at the forefront of it, or they're going to be fighting for a more saturated market. That's just the way it is, because we're seeing it grow. We're seeing this area that has not been met. This education in this vicinity has only been sought out individually. Like we said, I've been training estheticians for almost 10 years now because they find us. So it's been so cool to be able to go into this arena, into this industry, and be working with skincare professionals and have our coaches be able to line up with them as well. Because really, if we want to evolve and call ourselves holistic, truly holistic, they're going to want to go beyond. We're really going to want to go beyond just clean products, because we're going to call ourselves holistic, and pretty soon people are going to compare us to the person that's able to work with the internal skin gut biome. And the education now is including, to advance in this arena, it's including gut health, nervous system regulation, hormone balance, immune resilience, microbiome restoration. So the next generation of skin leaders will not be defined by what they apply. They're going to be defined by what they understand internally. And what's so cool about this, and what I love so much about looking at our skin and looking at the beauty part of things, when beauty can combine with real holistic health foundations, it is so empowering. It is so much more empowering to say, I'm tending to this body internally and externally, instead of just externally trying to manipulate it and ignoring everything going on inside. It's such a different form of self-care. It's so much deeper, so much more rooted. And I say this for the individuals that are thinking about, hey, my anti-aging, my skin, my teenager. I mean, as much as I say this for the professionals treating them, I love working with the skincare professionals that are advancing right now. I'm about to run a huge group with them. We're strongly focused in the Washington area right now. And we're about to run a huge group this spring. And we get to help them rebrand, relaunch, and advance into really owning the holistic aesthetics arena. And so stay tuned for this, because I'm going to be featuring so much of them on Buddha Belly Life. So especially the Buddha Belly Life Instagram, you'll see a lot more of this, maybe a little bit on Gut Health School and on my personal one, but you'll really see them on Buddha Belly Life, because it's so exciting what they're doing. And I have estheticians that, because they have that drive for internal skin wellness and just really wellness in general, they're also open. They want their brand to be able to have the potential to expand into more than just skincare. Even if they are hands-on with the clients with skin, they can bring more wellness into their practices. And it is so fun to be a part of this movement right now, and to have beauty really start coming into the holistic space more and really strongly and really rootedly. It is so empowering. It's so empowering for us. It's so empowering for our clients. It's so empowering to see. I mean, look at Pam Anderson. I mean, honestly, to each their own. I mean, I wear more makeup than that. I don't run around without makeup at this phase of my life. I still have my lash extensions right now. Okay. So to each their own. We all got to decide what we do and what we feel like doing. But it's so cool to see more and more people really embracing their look, their natural look. And it's so much more easy to do that when we're taking care of that internal body, because the skin does glow. Aging, even if we have some lines and wrinkles, it can look so picturesque. We can be proud of it, and then we got to change our minds, and we got to change society. So as always, when we're talking about root wellness, we are really empowering from within in everything we're doing, for the body, for the gut, for the brain, for the skin, okay, and for our confidence. And we're doing that more with businesses now. So I just want to encourage everyone. I hope this episode gave you a little bit of information. I mean, I don't want to totally teach a class on here, but it's really cool what we've moved into. We're still the Gut Health School. We're definitely training coaches left and right. You'll probably pull us up if you ChatGPT where to go to school for gut health. ChatGPT loves us right now, and we love that. So, yeah, you'll see us. We've been doing this almost a decade, and we've moved into nervous system wellness and doing so much more with really helping empower people into better living in their vessels, where we aren't just manipulating the outside anymore. We're doing the internal work first. That includes our internal health and body as much as our internal spirit and energy, who we are and if we're, what we're connected to and what we're building for our lives and how we protect that and how we grow as people and what foundations we stand for and values and all that, right? And then as we're doing that, we're catering to the outside too. We decide what we want to do for movement, or we're building muscle through strength training. We are, getting that facial or whatever we're doing, buying that cute outfit. But because we've built on the inside first, because we've done so much internal building, then it's really great because it's the icing on the cake. The rest of it's the icing on the cake, and we come to it with confidence instead of reaching for the external to create an internal. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. And I can't wait to hear more about this. So thank you for joining us on today's episode. And those interested in the skin gut wellness portion, please reach out. You can come to buddhabellylife.com, guthealthschool.com, and get some more information for yourself, for your facility, or to ask for the professionals in your area that may be practicing this.